Welcome to Big Faces Worldwide. It's your boy Big Will, and I'm back with this boxing talk. What's going on, fam? Hey, there ain't a whole lot of big breaking news going on right now in the sport of boxing, man. But I just wanted to get on here and just, talk a little boxing. Just talk about a few topics that's been discussed the last couple of days, man. And the first one I want to talk about is Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence situation. As you may have heard, Mikey Garcia has vacated the IBF strap that he won off of Robert Easter this past summer. He said the IBF was pressing him, man. He said the IBF wanted to put their foot on his neck, man, to hurry up and make things happen with him and Comey. And he said, Richard Comey, he said that what they were doing were, they wanted him to move too fast, faster than he wanted to move. And he wanted to, weigh his options, man, check his options. He said, right now he got a lot of options out there, and he didn't want to commit to Comey before checking his options, And Mikey Garcia is one of the few fighters who has these type of options, man. You don't see too many guys out there without a promoter who can just, decide, pick and choose who he want to fight, man, and pretty much write his own check, in a process, man. But that's what happens when you believe in yourself, man. And Mikey Garcia believes in himself. Not every fighter who believes in himself can do what Mikey's doing, but you gotta have the skills, and Mikey definitely got the skills, and you gotta be willing to get in there and lay it all on the line, man. You gotta have 100% confidence in what you can do, in your abilities, man. And Mikey Garcia has that, man. Sort of reminds me like, back in the day, I don't know if some of you may not remember, but when Master P was coming out, and a lot of record companies wanted to sign Master P, man. And they was offering him chump change, and Master P knew what he can do, what he could bring to the table, and what he was worth. So he didn't go for it. He didn't sign with no major record label, man. He did it himself. He took his time and did it himself. He believed in his abilities and believed in his skills, and he became one of the biggest hip-hop moguls. He built one of the biggest empires in hip-hop history. You know what I mean? And that relates to this, man. Mikey Garcia can be one of the greatest fighters to do it of this era. You know what I mean? Should he win against Errol Spence. And I got to take my hats off to the guy, man. The dude wants to challenge himself, A lot of people were thinking, he was just running off out the mouth, just saying Errol Spence's name, just clout chasing. But there was something that I seen in his eyes and his body language, man, that, I took this guy for serious, man. Just the way he moves, man. He don't seem like a guy that's bullshit. He don't seem like a guy that's going out there pump faking, you know what I mean? He's all about his business. You can see that he's serious, man. He go out there and he handles what he got to handle, man. And I believed it from the beginning. When he said he wanted to fight Errol Spence, and that's what he wanted, I believed him. A lot of people didn't, man. I did a video at the beginning of the summer called Mikey Garcia Dares to Be Great. This was even before, the talks got serious and all that, but, there's something that I just thought was remarkable with what he was trying to do, man. He's, he talked about how what other fighter is just moving up in weight classes and down in weight classes, just talking about how he wants the champions. He wants the biggest fights. He don't want no tune-up fights. He don't want no in-between fights. He wants the biggest fights and the biggest tests. And, he felt like, at the time, Richard Comey didn't excite him, man. He couldn't get up for him. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you don't get up for a fighter that, really doesn't have nothing accomplished in the sport of boxing, man. No knock on Comey, but I think he's a decent fighter, and it would have been a interesting fight had he fought Comey. But I think he ultimately would have won the fight. But it would have been interesting nonetheless, man. You know, Mikey Garcia, you know, he's been saying this. Like he said this at the end of last year, he laid this plan out, man. He said what he wanted to do, and he said by the end of the year, he wanted to move up to welterweight. You know what I mean? Now, at the time, I knew that he was serious about it, but I thought, you know, that time frame was a little too fast, man. But, you know, everything is moving just how he said it was going to happen, man. And, you know, he's been saying it. The dude from boxing scene, Lem Satterfield, he sat down with my favorite boxer of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard, man. And Sugar Ray Leonard has some interesting things to say about Mikey Garcia, man. Leonard said a victory by the 4th division champion Mikey Garcia over the left-handed IBF welterweight champ Errol Spence will be it would be just like his upset of Hagler, whom he fought after rising from 147 pounds to middleweight. You know what I mean? So that was a hell of a jump for Sugar Ray Leonard to jump from welterweight to middleweight. You know what I mean? Sort of like what Brooke tried to do with Triple G. You know, what Khan tried to do with Canelo. And in both instances, man, both of them guys got crushed. You know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna be able to pull this off, man. But you know, if anybody has a chance to do it, I think Mikey has a chance to do it. You know what I mean? That don't mean that he will do it, but if anybody can do it, I think Mikey Garcia, you know, he has the chance to do it because his confidence, man. I like his confidence, man. And when you really believe something, man, when you really believe that you can do something, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna do whatever it takes to do it. You know what I mean? You know, Sugar Ray Leonard went on to say the similarities are absolutely on point, no question. You know, and I would think that most boxing people would say that the same thing about Errol Spence because Errol Spence is a rare, special fighter and a man who could be successful in any era. You know, his family members, he said his family members, his wife, and everybody thought that he was crazy for moving up to fight the middleweight, a solid middleweight with Hagler's power and abilities, especially after his inactivity, you know, and not looking great in his previous fight with Kevin Howard, who dropped Leonard in the 4th round of his, you know, previous win over Howard. But he did get him out of there in the 9th round. That was back in May of 1984. You know what I mean? So he's saying the similarities are the same. You know, you got Robert Garcia, you got the father, you know, got everybody around them, you know, telling them that, you know, they don't think he should do it. But, you know, Mikey got his own plan. Mikey got his own plan, and he going to do what he want to do, man. Mikey Garcia is daring to be great. You know, he said he wants to move up and try to dethrone me, and it's not going to happen. Now, this is Errol Spence talking. He said it's definitely not going to be an easy fight. You know, he will be pound for pound #1 if he beats me, but it's not going to happen. This is Spence, man, who climbed in the ring after the Porter Garcia matchup, man, and you know he challenged Porter for the unification fight. I don't know what's going on with that, man. Porter, you know, he's been silent, man. I haven't, you know, after, you know, him and his dad said that they will take the fight, that they focused on the fight, and then, you know, all of a sudden, man, he went over there to the Ukraine for the WBC convention, and his tune changed, man. His tune changed. He was doing interviews. I seen him with Eddie Hearn, man. I don't know if he got something brewing with Eddie Hearn as a possibility, but Porter's definitely changed his tune about fighting Errol Spence right now, man. But Leonard went on to say, only Mikey truly knows, you know, if he's ready for the task. But 90% of those asked probably thought that Hagler was going to beat me. And you can never convince a real champion that he cannot win. You know what I mean? You cannot convince a true champion that he cannot win. A true champion think he can go out there and beat everything. You know what I mean? A true champion think he can go out there and beat the brakes off of everybody, man. And you know, that's what Mikey. That's Mikey's frame of mind, man. And being a smaller man, It says Mikey's got to pick his shots based on footwork, moving in and out, and finding out what best works against Spence. You know, strong and weak points towards breaking them down. Leonard went on to say Garcia will feel the size difference in Spence's punches because 9 out of 10 times when a bigger guy hit me, he would rock me. The biggest thing for Garcia will be poise and composure, which everything for guys moving up and taking risks against bigger guys need. Garcia has been very selective with his shots and makes Spence feel uncomfortable with his timing. From that point, Mikey Garcia beating Errol Spence will be a huge victory for him. But Sugar Ray Leonard said that, you know, he is picking Spence to win. Just like a lot of people, man. Like, you know, I'm picking Spence to win that fight too. But the intrigue of the fight is that this guy really believes that he can beat Spence. You know, this guy with these I think awesome, outstanding skill set thinks that he can beat Errol Spence, man, and that's intriguing to me. I want to see this guy, man. It's kind of like I'm rooting for him to do it, you know. It's kind of like I'm rooting for him to do it, man, because, you know, when a guy dares to be great, this is what boxing's about, man. We want to see great things happen. We want to see the unthinkable happen. We want to see the unimaginable happen. And if Mikey Garcia goes up to 147 and beats Errol Spence, just think about that for a minute. Sit and think about that. You know, sit and think about if Mikey Garcia can get Errol Spence his first loss. That would be huge, man. Mikey Garcia will shoot straight to superstar status because he did the unthinkable. His legacy will be cemented along with the greats, man, because Errol Spence right now is considered that dude at 147, man. And I think it will be, you know, I think it will be something to talk about for years to come, man. I like Mikey Garcia, man. It seemed like after that 2-year layoff, you know, he came back focused. He came back on a mission, man, and he knew what he wanted to do, and he set out to do it. You know, and you got to give him props for that. You know, everybody, you know, there's a lot of people who really want to see the Terrence Crawford fight, man. And I want to see it just like, you know, everybody else, you know, and they beating that dead horse to death, man. I'm sick of hearing about it, man. You know, the fight's not going to happen now. Ain't no sense to keep talking about it. You know, this ain't the fight that I want, but yada, 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 you know, and all that, man. These jokers gotta understand, man, that, you know, these fighters got a plan of how they want to run their career. And, you know, although we may not like it, you know, we got to respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, these new fighters, they look at the fighters of old who got in there and fought everybody. You know, the best fighting the best. I'm all about that, by the way. But the best fighting the best, get in there and, you know, getting in there and slugging it out and finding out who's the best, man. You know, some of these fighters who did that aren't in the best position that they could be right now. Some of them, it was premature, you know, and it stunted their career. The career was sidetracked after they thought they, you know, had to go in there and prove something. You know, like Fernando Vargas, man. I really dug the Mexican warrior, man. Fernando Vargas was a monster, man. But I think, you know, his people moved him along too fast. Was he a beast? Yeah. Could he compete with them guys at the top level? Yeah. Did he win some of them fights? Yeah. But I think he was too young, and I think they moved him too fast, man. And, you know, he had a short career because of that. You know, Fernando Vargas could have been one of the all-time greats. I mean, he was a really good fighter, man, but, you know, a lot of people don't consider him as a great fighter. You understand what I'm saying? One of my favorite fights ever was from Fernando Vargas versus Tito Trinidad. I never forget that fight, man. We was down my man Bo's crib. You know, Bo's a dude in the hood. My partner. That, you know, we all used to go over his house. He used to always have the fight parties at Bo's house. We used to call it the stadium. You know what I mean? We go over there, we watch Trinidad versus Vargas, and that was a hell of a fight, man. To see both of them guys get dropped, you know what I mean, and get up off the canvas and come back and still fight hard and give it their all. That's what boxing is about, man. You know what I mean? And I've always been a guy who for some reason I got to go against what everybody else is against the fighter everybody else is going with. You know, back in Tyson's heyday, Tyson was an animal. Everybody's going for Tyson. The whole house going for Tyson. I'm going for Holyfield. You know, fuck that. I'm the lone. I might have been one or two of us going in there. There might have been 20 brothers in the crib, man. And you know, like 2 or 3 of us is going for Holyfield. You know what I'm saying? Holyfield got the whooping on Tyson, man. You should have seen me in there talking shit. A young Big Will when they're talking shit to them dudes, man. They remember. You know, they remember that, man. Mayweather. I wasn't a big Mayweather fan because everybody. I don't go along with everybody. Even on this YouTube thing, man. You can see, you know, if you've been watching my channel long enough, you see that I don't go along with everybody. I do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't a Floyd Mayweather fan, man. I thought he was too cocky. I thought he was too arrogant, and I didn't dig that. I was a Manny Pacquiao fan, you know. When they all the time they was talking about the fight. I mean, this is way before they fought, but when they was talking about it, the build up to it, you know what I mean. But by the time they fought, I was a Mayweather fan. But at the time when it was ripe, I wasn't a Floyd Mayweather fan. I was going with Pacquiao. Pacquiao was destroying everything, everybody. You know what I mean? And I went against the grain. I wanted Pacquiao to whoop that ass because I thought Mayweather was just an ignorant ass dude, man. Some people, you know, these younger cats may not remember, you know, all the stuff that Floyd used to do, man. Like, you know, a lot of people discussed it with Broner. You know, the younger guys, they see the type of stuff Broner's doing now. That's the same shit Floyd used to do. You know what I mean? The same shit Floyd get on Tank and Broner and all them four. That's the same shit he used to do. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people didn't like him. They was watching the fight to see him lose. You know, when he went up against Sugar Shane Mosley, you know, I was the only one again going for Sugar Shane Mosley. When he rocked Mayweather, I knew it was all she wrote, man. I got my motherfucking head cracked, man. After that round, I laid down more bets. You know what I'm saying? I just knew I was about to clean up, man. And Mayweather went out there and dominated that boy every round after that. You know what I mean? But hey, you win some, you lose some. But I ain't really become a Mayweather fan until he got that deal with Showtime. Right around that time, right around the Guerrero fight, I think. You know what I mean? And they was doing the I just started watching a lot of Floyd's interviews and documentaries, and you know what I mean, I understood where he came from. You know what I mean? I seen, like, his, you know, they were showing his lifestyle as he was brought up and as a kid, you know what I'm saying? And then I got it. You know what I mean? I understood why he was acting the way he was acting and doing the things that he was doing. You know what I mean? And then that's when I became a fan of Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? You know, people go through a lot of different things, man, and that makes us who we are. That makes us who we are. Your mistakes, the shit you go through as a youngster. You know what I mean? That makes you who you are, man. And when people hear jokers saying, "I'm from the hood," you know, this and that, sometimes that makes me sick. But a lot of people don't understand. 9 times out of 10, you know, a thorough dude ain't saying, "I'm from the hood." That means I'm tougher than you. You know what I mean? That means you should be scared of me or something like that. Nah, a thorough dude is telling somebody, when they tell them that I'm from the hood, they're telling you that being in the hood, you are exposed to a lot of dudes that's running different game. You done seen all different type of game. You know what I mean? You done seen, you know, you may have been in all different type of positions where you had to rumble, where you had to go to war with some jokers, you know what I mean? Or where you had to, you know, be in different situations that the average person outside of the hood don't understand and never been through unless you've been there. So when a person is saying, when a thorough person is saying, "I'm from the hood," you know what I'm saying? They're basically letting you know that, you know, I seen a lot of things. I seen different things, and you can't run no game on me. You know what I mean? You can't get that off with me. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people saying people think that people say I'm from the hood. Like, you know, what the fuck that mean? We all from, you know, there's hood in every city in the world. You know what I mean? That don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at what a thorough person is trying to tell you is that I've seen this before. I've seen this 100 times. I seen brothers like you do this 100 times. You can't get this off on me. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to look at different things that, you know, Floyd went through. And, you know, like his dad, you know, holding him in front of him while Joker shooting at him. You know, different stuff like that. His parents being on drugs. You know, not having a childhood. You know, his father making him go to the gym at an early age. You know, he looking to seeing the kids playing football in the yard, playing hide and seek, tag it. You know, release the dance. Some of you youngsters don't even know what that stuff is, man. You know, and that's what shapes a man. And a man, from what he did in his past, what he's seen growing up, that's who he becomes. That's what he emulates until he becomes a man and figures out what he wants to do on his own. You know what I'm saying? Till he mature, rather. Till he mature. Like right now, you don't see Floyd doing all that because he matured. You know what I'm saying? But he missed out on his childhood, man. So, you know, when he got the money and stuff, what we seen him acting out, you know, that was basically Floyd being the child that he couldn't be growing up. I know I got off topic here, but you know, like I said, ain't too much going on in the news, man. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this and a little bit about that. But Mikey Garcia should be commended, man. He should be commended for what he's doing. And what I think Mikey Garcia sees in Errol Spence, I'm gonna tell you what Mikey Garcia thinks he sees in Errol Spence. Mikey Garcia believes that he can knock Errol Spence out. That's what he sees in him. He believes in his power so much that he believes that Errol Spence is there to get hit, which he is, and he believes in his power. He believes that he can hurt him and get him out of there, because Mikey Garcia don't have the movement that Sugar Ray Leonard had in a Hagler fight. He can't move around the ring and dance in and out like at least I haven't seen it yet, like a Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I'm saying? So. You know, he's a superb boxer. You know, he moves around. He moves pretty good, but he's not real fast on his feet. He's not light on his feet. But he has great foot movement, great positioning. He's always in position. But what he's counting on is that big 1-2. You know, that's what he's counting on. And you know, a lot of people think that Mike is gonna leave there in a body bag on a stretcher, and he might, you know. But there's also that possibility, man, of, you know, that great fighter. Every so often, man, every decade or so, there's that great fighter who comes along who does the unthinkable, man, and shocks the world, man. Sort of like what Sugar Ray Leonard was saying, like him and Hagler. Nobody thought he could beat Hagler. You know, they just thought he was going to get killed. Everybody in this camp. His wife told him, don't do it, baby. Don't do it. But Sugar Ray Leonard believed in himself. He believed in his abilities, man. Manny Pacquiao went up to fight Oscar De La Hoya. He believed in his abilities. Everybody thought Oscar De La Hoya was going to destroy him. You know, Oscar De La Hoya was an animal too, by the way, man. These youngsters may not understand that. Yeah, he's doing some weird shit now with the kitchen utensils and, you know, all that there, man. But back in Oscar's day, in his prime, Oscar De La Hoya was an animal, man. And Mikey Garcia has that mindset of them champions of old, where he believes that he can do anything. And but you know, I really don't want to see him get hurt bad, man, because, you know, he's a guy that I would love to see what he can do in the future, man. But, you know, the probability of him getting hurt real bad is really high, you know. But there's also that chance that he could be that one fighter who comes along every so often and does the unthinkable and beats Errol the Truth Spence Jr., man, and shocked the world. It ain't impossible. It's been done before. The question is, can he do it? This is Big Will for Big Faces Worldwide. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead, man. Hit the subscribe button, fam. We all family. You know, one thing you're not going to hear me say on this channel, I'm not going to call no fighter a bum. You know what I mean? I dig all boxing. I'm a boxing fan. I want to see it all, man. I don't ride specifically with one promoter and one network and just because this and that. No, I'm a boxing fan. I want to see all boxing. So if there's good fights on the zone, I'm going to watch the zone. If there's good fights on Showtime, I'm going to watch Showtime. Good fights on Fox, I'm going to watch Fox, ESPN Plus, you know, wherever the good fights is at, I'm going to watch them. Big Will, Big Faces Worldwide. I'll holla back.